The Sixth Sense, 1999. From the very beginning, the film quietly tells its secret. Dr. Malcolm Crowe is rarely shown interacting with anyone except Cole. Scenes place him physically apart from other characters, standing in doorways, sitting alone, or arriving after conversations have already ended. His wife never directly responds to him, and when she does speak, it's always framed as if she's talking to herself or reacting emotionally to something unseen. The color red subtly appears before moments connected to the supernatural, guiding attentive viewers without drawing attention. Even Malcolm's winter clothing indoors hints at something being fundamentally wrong, yet nothing feels forced or unnatural on a first watch. The twist. Malcolm Crowe has been dead the entire time. He was killed in the opening scene and never realized it. Like the ghosts Cole sees, Malcolm is trapped, unable to accept his death, lingering because he believes he still has unfinished work. His purpose was never to fix his marriage or save himself. It was to help Cole understand his gift. Once that task is complete, Malcolm finally becomes aware of the truth and lets go. Why it works. The twist succeeds because it doesn't betray the audience, it rewards them. Every scene remains logically consistent both before and after the reveal. The emotional weight lands not as shock, but as realization. The story transforms instantly from a supernatural thriller into a quiet tragedy about denial, grief, and acceptance. Instead of feeling tricked, viewers feel humbled, realizing the answer was always visible. The Sixth Sense didn't just deliver a twist, it redefined how twists should be written, making silence, framing, and restraint more powerful than any jump scare. Hereditary, 2018. From the opening frames, Hereditary quietly exposes its endgame. Annie's miniature houses mirror the film's theme of control, characters moving inside a structure they don't understand. Background details constantly hint at a larger force. Strange symbols carved into walls, the same smiling strangers appearing at the funeral and later in public spaces, and casual conversations that feel oddly scripted. Charlie's drawings, her fixation on decapitation, and her strange clicking sound are not random quirks. They are markers of something ancient already in motion. Even Annie's mother's history is filled with unexplained gaps, suggesting secrecy rather than tragedy. The film never hides the cult, it simply frames them as background noise. The twist. The shocking truth is that this was never Annie's story, or Charlie's. The entire family exists only to prepare a vessel for King Paimon. Charlie was never meant to survive. Her death is a ritual step, not an accident. The cult orchestrates every loss, emotional, physical, and psychological, until Peter is fully broken and ready to be inhabited. By the time the truth is revealed, resistance is meaningless. The ritual succeeds, and Paimon is crowned in Peter's body. Why it works. The twist devastates because it removes all illusion of agency. There is no last-minute escape, no heroic reversal. Every moment of grief was engineered. Rewatching the film turns it into something even darker, a story where fate is locked from the first scene. Hereditary doesn't rely on surprise. It relies on inevitability. The horror comes not from what happens, but from realizing it was always going to happen. The Others, 2001. From the start, the film quietly signals that something is wrong, not with the house, but with its occupants. Grace insists on keeping the curtains closed at all times, locking the family in darkness as if light itself is dangerous. Doors open and close on their own, yet servants move through the house with calm familiarity rather than fear. The servants' cryptic behavior, especially their refusal to explain where they came from, feels unsettling but never openly hostile. Anne's drawings depict figures in Victorian clothing, which Grace dismisses as childish imagination. Sounds of movement, footsteps, and voices are heard, yet no physical evidence of intruders is ever found. Even the intruders seem confused, frightened, and reactive rather than threatening. The twist. The truth overturns everything the audience believes. Grace, her children, and the servants are all dead. The house is not haunted by strangers. It is inhabited by ghosts who believe they are alive. Grace, driven by religious fanaticism and despair, smothered her children and then killed herself. The people they feared are actually the living family now occupying the house. The seances, noises, and disturbances are the living trying to understand the presence of the dead, not the other way around. Why it works. The twist is powerful because it recontextualizes fear itself. The film never cheats, it simply withholds perspective. Every unsettling moment becomes tragically logical in hindsight. Instead of shock, the reveal delivers sorrow, guilt, and quiet horror. The other succeeds because it transforms a classic haunted house story into a meditation on denial and grief, proving that the most terrifying realization is discovering you were the ghost all along. Saw 2004. From the opening shot, the answer is literally placed at the center of the frame. A dead body lies motionless on the bathroom floor for the entire film, treated as background rather than a mystery. The camera never lingers on it too long, conditioning the audience to accept it as set dressing. Jigsaw's philosophy about appreciating life is repeated through dialogue, yet his physical absence seems absolute. The gun in the corpse's hand is dismissed as part of the trap, and the blood pool beneath him never grows or changes. Even the tape instructions feel strangely personal, as if spoken by someone who understands the room too well. The film distracts viewers with frantic escape attempts, time pressure, and moral dilemmas, ensuring the most important detail is ignored. The twist. The body on the floor is not a victim, it is Jigsaw himself. John Kramer has been lying there alive the entire time, slowing his breathing and heart rate with drugs to appear dead. He orchestrated everything from inside the room, observing the test in silence. When the game ends, he simply stands up, revealing that the mastermind was never hidden or distant. He was present from the first frame, watching who would choose survival over cruelty. Why it works. The twist is devastating because it is painfully fair. The film never lies to the audience, it relies on assumption. By placing the truth in plain sight, Saw turns passive viewing into complicity. Fear comes not from gore, but from realization. The reveal reframes the entire film as a controlled experiment rather than chaos. It cemented Saw as a modern horror classic and proved that the smartest twists don't come from nowhere. They've been staring at you the whole time. Get Out, 2017. Jordan Peele layers the truth throughout the film using discomfort instead of mystery. Rose's family treats Chris with exaggerated politeness that never feels natural. Small comments about genetic advantages, physical strength, or being chosen reduce Chris to an object without openly admitting it. The party scene is filled with guests asking invasive questions, touching his body, and appraising him like property. The deer motif appears repeatedly, symbolizing hunted bodies and discarded lives. Even Missy's hypnosis isn't framed as violent at first, it's presented as help, masking control as care. The behavior of black characters like Georgina and Walter is visibly off, smiling too long, speaking too formally, suggesting possession rather than awkwardness. The twist. The Armitage family is transplanting the consciousness of white people into black bodies. The sunken place is not just hypnosis, it's imprisonment. Victims remain fully aware but powerless, watching their own bodies being controlled by someone else. Chris is not being welcomed into the family. He is being prepared as a vessel. Rose, who appears loving and protective, is revealed as an active recruiter who selects victims with precision. The surgery represents cultural theft taken to its most literal extreme. Why it works. The twist hits because it transforms social horror into physical horror without exaggeration. The sunken place visualizes real-world silencing, being seen but not heard, present but powerless. Every unsettling interaction suddenly makes sense. Get Out succeeds because the horror isn't abstract. It's systematic, polite, and smiling. The film doesn't shock by surprise. It terrifies by recognition, turning everyday microaggressions into a nightmare with rules, structure, and devastating clarity. Shutter Island, 2010. From the moment Teddy Daniels arrives on Shutter Island, reality feels slightly misaligned. Staff members speak carefully around him, guards carry weapons as if anticipating violence, and questions are often answered with rehearsed vagueness. Teddy's migraines, tremors, and hallucinations intensify as the investigation progresses, suggesting internal collapse rather than external danger. Characters frequently mirror his language instead of correcting it, subtly guiding conversations instead of challenging his assumptions. His partner, Chuck, lacks a backstory and appears whenever the narrative needs reinforcement. Even the case Teddy is obsessed with reflects his own trauma, missing children, guilt, and violent loss, pointing inward rather than outward. The storm isolates the island completely, removing any external reality that could contradict his delusion. The twist. Teddy Daniels is not a U.S. Marshal. He is Andrew Laetis, a patient at Ashcliff Hospital. The investigation, the conspiracy, and even his partner are part of an elaborate role play designed to treat his dissociative psychosis. Andrew murdered his wife after she drowned their children, and unable to live with the guilt, he reinvented himself as a man hunting monsters instead of becoming one. Shutter Island is not hiding a secret experiment. It is staging one final attempt to bring Andrew back to reality. Why it works. The twist succeeds because it collapses the film inward. Every paranoia-driven theory becomes a defense mechanism, not a discovery. The horror shifts from institutional evil to psychological self-deception. The final question, whether Andrew chooses truth or oblivion, elevates the twist beyond shock. Shutter Island endures because its terror isn't about what the island does to him, but what he does to himself to survive. Orphan, 2009. From the moment Esther enters the family, her behavior feels unsettling in ways that go beyond trauma. She dresses in outdated clothing, speaks with formal precision, and reacts with emotional intensity far beyond her supposed age. Her artwork is disturbingly mature, and her fixation on adult relationships, especially her inappropriate attachment to the father, signals something deeply wrong. Physical clues are scattered throughout the film. Esther never changes clothes in front of others, avoids medical examinations, and reacts violently when her body might be exposed. Her strength in moments of rage contradicts her small frame, and her manipulative intelligence consistently outpaces that of the adults around her. Even the accent she uses sounds carefully performed rather than natural. The twist. Esther is not a child at all. She is a 33-year-old woman named Lena Clammer, suffering from hypopituitarism, a rare disorder that halted her physical growth. Using her appearance as a disguise, she infiltrates families, seduces fathers, and murders anyone who threatens to expose her. Her childlike innocence is a calculated performance designed to lower defenses and redirect suspicion. The orphanage, the tragic backstory, and even her vulnerability are all lies constructed to enable predation. Why it works. The twist lands because it weaponizes trust. Children are assumed to be harmless, and the film exploits that instinct mercilessly. Every warning sign is dismissed as emotional damage rather than danger. Once revealed, the story transforms from domestic thriller into survival horror. Orphan succeeds because the threat was never supernatural. It was human, calculated, and hiding behind the most protected identity imaginable. The Wailing, 2016. From the beginning, the film destabilizes moral certainty. Every figure who claims to help behaves suspiciously, while those who appear threatening offer warnings that seem strangely sincere. The Japanese stranger is framed as ominous, yet evidence against him is always indirect or filtered through rumor. The shaman's rituals are theatrical and violent, more performative than sacred. Visual language constantly contradicts dialogue. Characters pray while committing cruelty, smile while spreading fear. The woman in white is treated as an evil presence, yet she repeatedly tries to stop the protagonist from making fatal choices. Animals react before humans do, signaling spiritual imbalance rather than clear villainy. Even photographs and visions offer multiple interpretations, never one stable truth. The twist. The film reveals that the moral framework guiding the protagonist is completely wrong. The Japanese man is not merely a cursed outsider, he is a demon manipulating events from the shadows. The shaman, supposedly fighting evil, is working with him. The woman in white, feared and dismissed, is actually a protective spirit trying to save the family. By mistrusting the quiet warnings and placing faith in spectacle and authority, the protagonist seals his own fate. His final act of doubt breaks the last barrier of protection, allowing evil to fully enter his home. Why it works. The twist devastates because it exposes how easily fear distorts judgment. The Wailing refuses clear moral signposts, forcing viewers to sit inside confusion just like its characters. When the truth emerges, it feels less like revelation and more like punishment. The horror isn't just supernatural, it's epistemological. The film terrifies by showing that evil doesn't always lie. Sometimes it tells the truth loudly enough to be believed. The Invitation, 2015. From the moment Will enters the house, discomfort hangs in the air, but every red flag is politely dismissed. Locked doors, missing cell service, and carefully controlled conversations create an atmosphere of quiet surveillance. The hosts constantly redirect serious questions with calm smiles and rehearsed reassurance. Stories about grief are shared with unnatural openness, as if vulnerability itself is being used as a tool. The guests' emotional states are subtly manipulated. Wine flows freely, tensions are soothed quickly, and anyone expressing concern is labeled unstable. Most revealing is Pruitt's casual confession about his past violence, which is brushed aside as honesty rather than danger. The hosts insist everything is about healing, yet no one is allowed to leave freely. The twist. The dinner is not a reunion, it is a recruitment ritual. Eden and David are members of a death cult that believes pain can be escaped through surrender. The entire evening is designed to test who is emotionally vulnerable enough to accept this ideology. Those who hesitate or resist are not meant to be persuaded. They are meant to die. The moment Will realizes the truth, it's already too late. Poisoned wine, locked exits, and coordinated timing reveal that the calm atmosphere was a carefully maintained trap. Why it works. The twist lands because it grows organically from social pressure rather than shock. The invitation exploits the fear of being rude, the instinct to give people the benefit of the doubt, and the discomfort of confronting grief openly. Every warning sign is visible, but politeness becomes the real cage. When the truth finally surfaces, it feels inevitable rather than surprising. The final reveal expands the horror beyond the house, proving that the threat was never isolated. It was everywhere, quietly waiting.